AVI has an extensive brand portfolio from hot and cold beverages, sweet and savoury snacks, fresh convenience foods, out-of-home ranges, cosmetics to shoes and clothing. This really is a well-diversified consumer group.
Fantastic. Under the stewardship of Simon Crutchley over a good long period now, this one has the most impressive share chart you can imagine. It really has done a tremendous job and has sailed through these tough times in recent years.
Market cap 34.6 billion rand, PE of 20.4, dividend yield here of 3.9%. Let's look at this impressive share price graph.
It's a pity that's just a 5-year chart, because if you look at the 10-year chart, it's basically gone from 10 rand to 100 rand.
But we haven't had any exposure, have we?
No, we've owned it over the years in very small chunks, but we've owned Tiger, and we were very disappointed about Tiger's misadventures in East Africa and West Africa. So this one would by far be in the sector leader to own.
Nesan, did you experience the upside here in AVI?
Only in the last few years, unfortunately. You know, if you look at the business of AVI, it's one of the few businesses that I get the sense where management is very aligned to what shareholders' interests are. So the return on capital employed is the highest in the sector. You know, their margins, operating margins, are twice the other guys. You know, their brand of products, I think they take very good care of them. They market it reasonably well. They've got very good market share in the various products. They also had the same problem with input cost pressures, but managed to get much better price increases than the rest of the guys, because they're in tea, biscuits and coffee, and not really necessarily in the cereals and the bread market.
Well, what a pity you both missed this one from earlier on, although you've capitalized on it in the last couple of years.
Yeah, only in the last 2 years, really.
Look, Simon is a very talented business operator. He talks a lot about the provenance in the brands. In other words, you can always cut corners and reduce the nice ingredients in biscuits, or use a little bit more stalks and less leaves in the tea bags and so on. And you probably find people won't notice in the short term. And you can do that whole shrinkflation business where you sell the same product for the same price, but it's like 200 grams smaller. That's not good. So they don't do that stuff. And because of the diversity in the fish, the biscuits, the snacks and all of that, and then the shoes and all that, you can afford to have one sector not doing so well because the other ones cover up for it. Because currently the Spitz, Carvela, 80 Spitz, all of that Jimmy Choo shoes isn't doing tremendously, but it apparently doesn't matter.
And when you talk about the shrinking, the very famous study is the tomato sauce bottles out of Tiger Brands.
The all gold, which got like from 500 mils to 450.
And apparently consumers weren't.
Actually, there's an even more famous example, which is the Toblerone bars, where they started taking out the mountains.
Really?
They just made the mountains less or narrower, like bigger gaps.
What a sneaky strategy.
I know, very sneaky.
Now I'm going to start counting my Toblerone mountains. Hot or not?
I like it. I think it's hot.
Hot, not?
Now, AVI, you can't fault it. It's been such a tremendous operator.
Now, this is after the run, gentlemen. You still hot?
It's probably been hot in it over the years, which has never owned it.